Hey guys, Cravone here, and today I'm going to bring you another high-level Slayer guide. And today's going to be on living wyverns, which are among the hardest and most dangerous Slayer tasks in the game. Now, I want to give a disclaimer before I do this, because I know people are going to be in the comments about this. Now, there are two methods to do this task. I'm going to be covering two-handed magic. Now, there is also an alternative which involves using a shield, but I find this to be slower. It saves on food, you don't have to bank anywhere near as much, but I feel this is slower, so this is why I use a two-handed weapon. That's why I use a staff. If you're looking for a shield guide, this will not be it. You will probably have to look up an alternate guide. But I mean, it's not too difficult, honestly, with the shield to learn. There's not too much difference. So now, this method is going to be very much focused around using soul split to keep yourself alive. So, everything's going to be sort of focused towards maximizing your damage, as well as all the essentials you need to bring here. So, my inventory setup, I take an overload, I take a holy overload, because that's what I have. One fire potion, although a supreme overload salve can work for both of those at the same time. I'd take an anti-poison plus, although in the video you don't see this because I discovered this after I did this recording. I take 2 to 3 prayer flasks if I'm not using penance. If I'm using penance aura, I don't take any prayer flasks because there's no need. I take a teleport to house tear tab. Now the reason for this is that if you get hit whilst you're mid teleport and it kills you, if you die in your house, it's considered a safe death, so you don't have to pay for reclaiming, you don't have to lose durability. I also take a bone crusher, because no papering the bones here is just too much of a hassle. I take a charming imp, which is like just a staple for Slayer. And then I fill the rest of my inventory up with sharks. I take a pack yak with sharks. I actually take a legendary pet with the pack yak equipped, and I also have my legendary pet looting for me and with the Ring of Life proc. So for gear setup, personally I use Nox staff. I honestly feel that with this method you have to have tier 90 plus weapons. You can take your wield for this method as well, but the reason why you want tier 90 and not tier 85 is that your damage actually matters here as much as your accuracy does. These mobs don't have that high defense. In fact, it feels like they don't have any defense at all, to be honest. So I want to maximize my damage, so I take a Nox staff. I wouldn't recommend using this soul split strategy with anything less than a tier 90 weapon. Then for armor, I would recommend taking your highest mage power armor that you have. However, tier 90 power armor, I would say only do that if you can afford, because that can be a bit of a waste. But if you don't feel comfortable doing it with anything less, then fair enough. By the way, I use augmented Virtus. So, other items you're going to need, an Amulet of Souls is going to be very, very important here. Borderline essential if you're using the soul split strategy that I am, because this increases your soul split damage, your soul split healing. And then by the way, we're using fire spells, so you're going to have to take fire runes and air runes. I take them in a large rune pouch to free up 2 inventory slots. Now for auras, Penance is going to be the best here because you're taking a lot of damage and you get free inventory slots, and you're probably going to be wanting to use 1095 prayers with this as well. Failing that, Vampirism Aura is good here. After that, Dark Magic or Reverence. So living wyverns are found south of Port Sarim. I think it's called the Asgardian Ice Dungeon. It's where the Ice Warriors and Ice Giants are, and the Skeletal Wyverns. You basically go into the Skeletal Wyvern area. This is like, before you go into the Skeletal Wyvern area, is probably the best place to overload and Wine Fire Potion. And then there's this this rope that leads downwards, and there's living wyverns there. Now I'm going to show on screen a map of the living wyvern area, and the reason why you need to know this is because there are environmental hazards here in this area, and it's important to know those. So I'm going to circle in red the location of all of the fires. Now, what is a fire, you may ask? So in this area you will have a cold meter, and it will be showing on your debuff bar as a percentage with like. Now if this percentage is above 75%, the living wyvern will start doing quite long stuns on you, and it will start stun locking you. If this happens, you should hit freedom and break your teleport tab immediately. Don't try and fight this. You will die if you do not teleport out at this point. Now, in addition to this stunning, there are two other effects linked with coldness. The first one is that the colder you are, the more the living wyvern standard attacks are going to deal to you. So they're going to start hitting harder the higher the coldness, which is the higher percentage. The second thing is that the warmer you are, which is the lower percentage, the more the poison's going to hit. So there's sort of a balancing act here. Now, if you want to reduce your coldness, which is reduce the percentage, all you have to do, you have to go to one of these fires. You don't need logs or anything. You just click it and you stand one square away from it, and you'll start heating up. The percentage will go down. You'll start taking more poison damage but less living wyvern damage. If you want to cool down, you just step away from the fire a little bit and the coldness will start to rise again. So it's quite a balancing act. I know some people like to keep this percentage around 50%. Personally, I like to keep around 30%. But with Anti-Poison Plus Plus, I'd imagine it's not too bad to have like your coldness right down to maybe like 10%, or even possibly lower. Now, about the living wyverns themselves, there's actually not much you have to remember with fighting them. So they have two types of breath attacks. They've got the normal ice breath, which you need a wine fire potion for, or an overload salve works, supreme overload salve. Now their second breath attack is their poison breath attack. Now this is basically the poison I'm talking about with regard to the fire. They'll use this all the time. And this will basically poison you based on how much warmth or how much cold you have. So, as I said earlier, the lower the cold, the more you're going to take from this. And this can do up to 900 per 3 or 4 game ticks. And this can be reduced by anti-poison, but it can't be removed by any means. Venom Blood is not useful in the slightest here. It does nothing, so does Poison Purge and anything else. However, anti-poison will reduce the damage by roughly half. Now, they will be hitting very hard with their standard attacks, up to 2 to 3k possibly. And if you're at range, they'll alternate magic and ranged. If you're close up, they'll hit with melee, and their melee hits really hurt. You don't want to be in melee range. Now, obviously these hit really hard, but because they alter, devotion isn't that useful here, because you have to prayer switch to be able to use devotion here effectively. And you have to know what kind of attack is going to hit you. So I use Soul Split here because I find that sustains me more than prayer flicking would. And I also use 295 prayers to increase my damage here. Now the last thing I'm going to cover, and I don't often cover what offensive abilities to use in these guides. However, here I feel it's necessary. So you can stun these, and stunning will stop them doing their 2 to 3k damage on you whilst they're stunned. So a good way to fight these is just keep them stun locked if you can. If you're using Revolution, I'd recommend putting Impact as your first ability over anything else. Then for Threshold, you want to be using Deep Impact. Obviously Asphyxiation is going to be your main threshold here, but Deep Impact is good as well. And Wild Magic is okay if the other two are on cooldown. If you want to use an ultimate, which I personally don't use it that often, you can use Sunshine. There's nothing wrong with using it. Increase your damage. It always will increase your damage. It's always a good staple. But I prefer to keep my adrenaline for the stun thresholds. In regards to abilities you do not want to be using here, you do not want to be using Chained. That's a big no-no. So you're getting hit by a truck by 1 attacking you. Imagine if Chains hits up to 3 and tags 3 onto you. At that point it's just a matter of time, like how long you're going to last before you're killed. It's not going to be long, I can tell you that right now. So obviously take Chains off your bar. Now the question mark ability here is Dragon Breath. I know some people that do use Dragon Breath with this strategy. Now Dragon Breath is very risky here because you can tag more than 1, and you don't want to tag more than 1. However, Dragon Breath is one of the highest dealing single target damage abilities. So I would recommend, if you're gonna use Dragon Breath, keep it on manual. Like, have it on a part of your bar which you have to decide, I'm going to Dragon Breath now, so that no unfortunate accidents happen. You can be careful there's nothing around your Wyvern when you use it. Or if you're not feeling confident with doing that, just don't use it at all. It's not that bad to not use Dragon Breath here. So yeah, I think that I've covered everything. Hopefully this has helped you guys. Now, I had some crackling issue with my microphone. I've had to re-record a lot of it, and I do apologise. There's not really much I can do. Like, I've got a bad microphone at the moment, and sometimes it's crackly, sometimes it's fine. Like right now it seems to be fine, but earlier it was crackly. So yeah, I apologise subjecting you guys to that, but I've not really got many other options at this point until I get a new one. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.